guys do me a quick favor? Can you look at this video really quick and just tell me whether or not you think it's real or fake? If you guessed it was real, you're wrong. How do I know? Because I made it myself. Did I fool you with my fake ghost video? Sorry, not sorry. Hello there, everybody. My name is Katrina Rain. My friends call me Kat. You can call me Katrina. And this is my YouTube channel where I get to talk about whatever the hell I want because I made it. So when I was a kid, parents actually cared about what their kids were watching. A new concept, I know. My parents were always a little concerned with what me and my sister were watching, so they always keep tabs on what shows we were into. So I just straight up lied right there. My mom is the only one who ever cared about what I was watching. My dad literally introduced me to Is This a Zombie at age 8. Anyways, shout out to my mom for actually being a good parent. In some cases, I know parents used to either prevent or just straight up ban certain shows from like the household, which depending on the show, it was for different reasons. Some cases, it was to prevent annoying behavior. In others, it was because the show was deemed a little more inappropriate than they had originally thought, or they just weren't comfortable with what the show was talking about. Those are a bunch of valid reasons. I have been banned from one show in my lifetime, and that was my favorite show as a kid, Fact or Fake Paranormal Files. And you're probably thinking, Kat, why were you banned from this show? I was scarring myself as a child every night just to watch it. Now that I'm 20 and I have my own money, I was able to buy the seasons, and I want to talk about it because I spent like $40 just to watch this show, and I need that money to go somewhere. So every episode, a team of 6 investigators would choose 2 different videos or photos of paranormal, extraterrestrial, or cryptid sightings, also like famous conspiracy theories in some cases, and they would take that evidence and they would go to the original location of where this video or photo was shot and try to replicate it to the best of their abilities with fun special effects, stunts, and crazy hijinks like that. Like I was saying, I loved Fact or Faked a lot. I was obsessed with it. I wanted to be on the show when I grew up. So if this video somehow blows up and Fact or Fake gets popular and they make a 3rd season, I'll be waiting by the phone. So I originally had intended to just talk about 2 specific episodes, but I thought it was more fun to just pick whatever I want. So like I mentioned, they would do a lot of effects and stuff to replicate videos of paranormal sightings. And in the first episode is a really good example of this, where the team finds this video of a ghost car online. In the original footage, it's a police car dash cam, like car chase at first, and you see this car make this really fast U-turn. It's driving away, and then all of a sudden down the road, it turns again, and the cop turns to follow the vehicle, and all of a sudden the cop comes across a
fence
and past
the fence
behind
the fence.
You just see the taillights of the car that he was chasing, and a lot of people saw this video online and were like, oh my god, ghost car.
And as I turned in, the only thing I see is taillights on the other side of the fence.
The officer who was chasing the cars was very confused about it, but he also didn't say it was paranormal. He just thought it was a weird situation he was in. So the team is like, fuck yeah, we have to go investigate ghost car. And obviously, because it's the first episode, what do you think they're gonna do? They're gonna shoot a car over a 6-foot tall fence. Great way to start off a show. There's a lot of stunts and effects like this that they'll do on the show that just like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, why would this be like the situation? Hey, boss, I'm like looking through the budget here. I don't think we should send the car over the fence, you know? That's like a lot of money and it could cause a lot of damages. Are you sure we really need this experiment in this episode?
Car must go in sky. Car in sky equals ratings.
Okay, but sir, we have a plan to do the moon landing. We kind of need a lot of budget for that to make sure, you know, it looks like we're on the moon.
No.
They got a professional driver to do it, even though one of the members of the team is literally a stunt expert. I wonder why he couldn't do it. So in the first episode, we're introduced to the leader of the group and the creator, Ben. He's a former FBI agent, which I think is mentioned mostly to give him credibility, which I'll admit, smart move. and he's the creator of the group, and he launched it a couple years ago because he's always been interested in the paranormal of things, extraterrestrial, UFOs, cryptid creatures, hoaxes, conspiracies, all that stuff. Then there's Bill, who I kind of think is supposed to be like the number 2 of the group, because Bill and Ben never go on the same missions. Every episode the team splits up into teams of 3. So Ben and Bill normally take charge of like each team, and I'm just like, this is like more like me personally like hypothesizing, but Bill's also given the second title card, so I think I'm right about it. Then there's Jael. Jael's a journalist. You have Larry, the effects specialist, and then there's Shilan. Shilan is the expert photographer. Keep that in mind. Then there's group member Austin, who I mentioned to be the stunt expert, who openly admits to having a background in biology.
I've been with Ben in the group from the start, from the very beginning. I mean, my background's in biology, but I'm also a thrill seeker.
That's right, he's not a stunt guy. He doesn't trained in stunts, he doesn't have any background. Like, I don't know if people know this, but a lot of like stunt actors tend to have training in different things. There's like specific classes you can take to be good at stunts. There is skills to it that you should have, but they call him a stunt expert because Austin is a thrill seeker. So what I think that they meant to say is Austin's the only guy willing to put on a Bigfoot suit and run through a grassy field, or zip line in order to look like a witch. Yeah, there's actually 2 separate episodes where they have Austin do random stunts like ziplining and parkour in order to look like flying witches. I have nothing to say about that. So the show actually covers some more like conspiracy theorist territory in some cases. They go to Area 51, they go to Loch Ness, and they even do an episode on the moon landing, which is their worst reviewed episode of season 1, so I just have to talk about it. So for those of you who aren't aware of this, a lot of people don't believe the moon landing actually happened. Yes, I know. It's a really weird conspiracy theory because there's like a lot of science to back up that we did go to the moon, but here are the reasons why a lot of people don't think we did it. There is proof that we were actually behind for a long time during the space race, that we were having more difficulty making the technology to go up to space, even though a woman ended up doing all the, you know, mathematics and whatever to figure out how to get to space. The weirdest part of this conspiracy, other than the fact that, you know, they're denying science, is the fact that people actually believe that Stanley Kubrick, director of 2001: A Space Odyssey and The Shining, directed the moon landing. But then what's weirder is that when I was in high school, I actually learned, because I did a topic about The Shining, that there are weird subtle hints and like nods and Easter eggs about the moon landing, like Apollo 13, and it's like, are you playing along with the joke? Because if you are, it's hilarious. Anyways, so the moon landing episode of Fact or Faked is their worst reviewed at, I think it's 2.8 stars on IMDb. Crazy, because their other episodes have like 7 to 8. So this was review bombed, okay? Something about this clearly did not entertain the masses. So in the moon landing episode, Ben, Sheila, and Austin meet up with, what's his name? Aaron Rannon.
I'm very excited to see the results of your test because, you know, I myself spent a year trying to prove we landed on the moon. And at the end of my year's journey, I ended up with more questions than answers.
So Ben, Sheila, and Austin all go to figure out whether or not they can replicate 3 famous videos from space of, you know, astronauts chilling on the moon. So the first one that they're doing is the falling test with a heather. They try to drop a feather and a hammer to see if it would fall at the same time. The second one is the famous moonwalk and the jump, and like the flag is right there. Very cinematically shot, I will admit, but very cool indeed. And the last one that they try is one of the most popular proof videos of the moon landing being fake, and it's this one of this astronaut kneeling on the ground and then kind of like being assisted up into an upright position. The feather falling tests are able to replicate pretty easily. You just have to weight the feather a little bit more. And then they move on to the moonwalk. And this is where we have to talk about the biggest critique of the show. So they put Austin in these spring boots to try to get him to replicate like the bounciness that you'd have in space. Fact or fake, you're not moving them to a place where their center of gravity is like completely different. You're not putting them in some weird like moon simulator room. They're just walking on Earth in a random soundstage. The spring boots doesn't work because when he falls, there's too much force that comes down with him, which Duh, I could have told you that because you're using spring boots. You're not using anti-gravity boots. I genuinely am scared that they thought that this was gonna like change his gravity, because no, he's still gonna fall at 9.8 meters per second squared. So obviously they're like, okay, I guess we have to pull out the theater strings. Yes, you do. You should have done that in the first place. What was this? Why were you wasting time? So when they go to replicate the most controversial video, they again use theater strings to get that like floating effect. But here's the thing. There is a reason why the astronaut gets back up so quick.
Chris Gilman, he is a NASA spacesuit designer. He told us that when the suits are pressurized, they naturally are in the standing position. So what we're actually seeing here is the suit almost uncoiling.
So it's kind of like this empty water bottle. I squish it, but it like pops back. Yeah, that's basically what's happening to the astronaut. Like it's not it's not like this weird conspiracy. He was just poof. So after replicating everything pretty well, I will say it does, most of the stuff comes out pretty good. The only issue I have is that the set looks really bad, like the moon part, which arguably if you're trying to see if you can replicate the moon landing, you're gonna want a decent set. So I don't know why they didn't put a little bit more effort in there. So after watching this episode, I think the negative reviews came from the fact that even though they were able to replicate everything, everybody in the team agreed that the moon landing was probably still real and this was just more like a fun project. And I think some conspiracy theorists got a little bit butthurt and probably review bummed the show.
Your recreations were pretty convincing, but I believe that the lunar landings are authentic.
And I think taking it all into account, it's much, much, much more probable it really did happen and we really went to the moon.
So my original video got corrupted a bit here. Let me introduce you to the last part of this video. We're going to be talking about the episode Glowing Gargoyle. It is my personal favorite episode of the whole series. It has guest star Josh Gates from Destination Truth, who convinced me to watch his show, so it may be the next video. Who knows? Who knows? I can't promise anything. I don't even know. I don't even know when this video is coming up, and I'm almost done with it. So anyways, you guys enjoy. So in this episode, Ben and Jael bring season 2 new member Devin to Beckham, England with Josh Gates, of course. Josh asks a question I think we should have all been asking.
I want to know what he was doing lurking around a kid's playground in the middle of the night with a camcorder.
I want answers. They go to meet up with Peter, the original videographer of this weird, eerie video of a gargoyle atop a playground set. During the interview with Peter, Jael actually asked him if there's any like popular role play spots in town or if there's like Ren fairs commonly, and Devin's face lights the fuck up.
There's a place called Chislehurst Caves where they do those live role-playing games and dress up as elves and orcs and whatnot.
Devin looks like the kind of guy who not only goes to Ren fairs, but is acting the part as well.
There is no try, there is only do.
So like in the previous episodes I've mentioned, they do experiments to try to replicate this video of this weird gargoyle-like creature. And the first experiment is a man in a costume, specifically chainmail. I would have put him in a straight up gargoyle costume, but you guys do you. So in the nicest way that they can, they asked Devin to put on the chainmail costume to jump off the playset.
Maybe someone was wearing glasses, but who do we know that wears glasses and that's closer to 4.5 feet than the rest of freakishly short?
Wait a minute, I thought stunts was Austin's job. Where is he right now? So the next thing they try is a lemur to replicate what looks like to be a 3 to 4 foot tall creature. Here's what I think actually happened. I think the team was like, that looks like it could be an ape animal of some kind. And the producers came in like, all we can afford is a lemur. Take it or leave it. And they took it for some reason. So Chris, the lemur guy, brings his lemur Curtis, who immediately jumps on Jael's shoulder.
Curtis! Get the fuck out of here!
Obviously this attempt doesn't work, so they move on to a third experiment, but I'm not going to be talking about that. I want to talk about the night investigation. So they actually decided to do a night investigation on this episode because the neighborhood actually claims that this playground is haunted, so they are interested to see like if there's any creepy stuff happening. So Josh and Jael take the thermal camera to the woods and kind of just explore around for a little bit, while Devin sets up IR cameras and stays by like the play set and kind of just watches to see if there's any movement on the camera. Ben then decides to go to the tree in the playground that used to be used for hanging people. So while looking at the IR cameras, Devin actually catches this weird creature by one of the woods, and wait a minute, is that
Curtis! Get the fuck out of here.
So Josh and Jael are currently being scared by bird sounds, but Devin asked Ben to go rush over to this tree in order to see if he can spot the creature.
Hey Devin, I'm at the hanging tree now. It is dead silent. I don't see the eyes that you said were over here, but I have a couple of ideas.
So Ben decides to stay, and Ben, are you good?
I've heard legends about this tree.
Oh, thank God, he's fine. He's just trying to re-traumatize the ghost for the EVP session. The episode ends with them coming up with nothing during the night investigation, and Jael and Josh just being scared by bird sounds the whole night. What?
After we patrolled the park for hours, we came up empty. I mean, Josh and I had gotten some mysterious heat signatures with our thermal imager, but then we realized that they were just animals that were in the park.
So they determined that the video was most likely CGI, which I could have told them that. I don't know why I'm not on the show. I can clearly tell you that that is CGI. You did not need to do a whole episode on this video. And that is my favorite TV show. And even though I was critiquing it a lot and I was making jokes, I just wanted to talk about it because I love it and I miss it. Is this TV show unconventional for a child to love? Maybe. Is it fun? I think so. Also, I didn't know where to put her here because I didn't pick an episode that she was in, but one of the investigators is Lanisha, and she also appears in season 2 to replace Sheelan. But I just think it's funny because her title card is labeled just photographer, and like I mentioned earlier, Sheelan is the photography expert. I don't know what the difference is. I guess that there's a qualification missing or something. Don't be too upset about the expert thing, by the way, because they also give Austin the title of stunt expert. Trust me. The producers and the team running the show should not have been allowed to use that word, period. That's actually crazy. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I've re-recorded this like 100 times, so hopefully this is it. Done recording this. I even did makeup for this video. Anyways, thank you for watching, like I said. Please be sure to stick around if you like these kinds of videos. I plan on making more in the future. Have a bunch of videos in the work. In case you guys are interested in a funny story, this video was actually supposed to be my Halloween video last year, but I had my appendix removed. So now it's coming out in March. I hope. Anyways, if you guys are interested, I have other social media to like update you guys on videos and stuff if you're interested. I also make gaming videos sometimes if you want to check out my second channel and my Discord. Please and thank you. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. So bye.